Hey, welcome back, YouTube. It's your boy Jade from Salem Photography once again. We have this image right here, right before us. An image, big thumbs up to OVR Reflex for this crisp image. I took it off a retouch challenge that is currently going on. And yeah, I'm going to be using the Ultimate Retouch Panel, yeah, over here. Ultimate Retouch Panel, so you could get that online. I think it's for free or so. No, I can't really remember, but you could search it up online and get to work some things out for yourself as well. So let's get straight into business. We look into the image, and then if you're following what I was doing, I went through the Ultimate Retouch Panel and I worked with the tree frequency separation action on this button here. It works with the Gaussian blur and the surface blur at the same time. So I took that, selected that, and used a blur radius of about 4.9 thereabout, and the sharpening was around 18. Yeah, a radius of about 18, and used the mixer brush tool with these settings and did the regular retouch to blend in all the areas and skin tones, gets the same skin tones to look very smooth and all that. So if you actually notice, there's a bit of hair sticking out on this side and it doesn't look so great, so I'd like to take that off. And I'm going to be working with the clone stamp tool, create a new layer, and we'll Okay, so it still looks a bit rough, but I bet you get the idea. So I just picked up the eraser and then tried to clean up the edges to just make things look a little much better. And always remember that when you're working with the clone stamp, your sample has to be on current and below, so it picks up the sampling from all the layers. So at this point, I think we're good to go into the first stage of dodge and burn on the Ultimate Retouch panel. And what I usually like to do is I use the overlay method for dodge and burn to burn, and then I use the soft light to dodge. Now, there's no rule for this. I just prefer to do that because it helps me remember. It's just a 50% gray layer that has been created with either the soft light blending mode or the overlay blending mode. So I use the overlay um for burning to darken the shadows, and then I use the soft lights for dodging to brighten up the highlights. First of all, if I'm doing something pretty quick, what I usually do is I do a rough contouring, more like you contour out the face, and you don't need to bother so much about the accuracy of your dodge and bunny. You just need to have an outline first, because if you notice, you can see the edges here are a bit messy, but something I always get back to fix in the long run. And then also we need to take note of the areas that I burned. So at this area here, okay, let me just the load up a brush and then create a new layer. So basically this area here, okay, I don't think you can see that, so let's work with black. Now basically this area here, because you need to actually assess the image and then understand where the light is traveling from and how it affects the model and shapes up the face eventually. So these areas I just highlighted are areas that I dodged. So you step up the highlights on those areas, and then there's secondary areas like here and this side, burn, burn, and burned on this side a little bit and burned on this side. Now the reason why I did this was because I just wanted to create some form of depth at this place, in the frequency separation stage, kind of flatten that out more than usual. I actually did that on purpose anyway, because I wanted to rearrange the lighting falling on the forehead at that point. So basically that's all we have for this stage. At this point in time, you could decide to go with the 3 frequency separation method or just the 2, but let's just go with this for the sake of time, and pick up a radius of some approximately the same thing as we did the other time. And now the reason for this is actually to even out all these areas that didn't really come out smooth enough, especially in the dodge and burn stage. So doing that just to clean up the mess here and there, and then once that is settled, we know that we already have something reasonable enough to work with. Okay, okay, so we're actually coming from this to this. Yeah, so far I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome, and the image is already coming up pretty good. Another thing I'd like to do is iris enhancer tool. It's pretty easy to work with, but okay, I'm just going to take that real quick. Now, one thing you need to understand working with the iris enhancer tool is that you need to have the overall selection tool selected, and uh, you need to make a rough selection of the eyes, the iris actually, and then you pick it up, you set up the amount however you like it, and voila, play around with the radius, threshold, and all that. So once you have that settled, click on OK, and it creates this mask layer. Wait, and your brush is already selected, so all you need to do is just come over here and then brush on the iris. It kind of brings up this enhanced feel to the iris. You could see that already. Where you feel the impact the most is when you notice that this looks a lot nicer and catchy to the eye. Okay, so with that being done, uh one thing I like to do is to arrange the skin tones and then work with the eyes tool to whiten up the eyes. So to work with, let's go with the eyes tools first. I'll come around here and then pick up desired radius for your sharpening, high pass filter, and okay, and then it's the action actually runs everything through for you. So uh, basically what you would like to do on this level is you try to sharpen up. You see it says iris boost, so what you do is you sharpen up the iris on this layer, and then bright iris. So in case you want the iris to go brighter, this is what you do. But for this stage, I think we don't need the whole thing to be bright, so we just work with the area where there's a reflector here, the cat's light in the eyes. Work with that, and then the bright eyeball here where we actually, now if you notice, the flow of my brush is set to about 10% because I want to take it gradually, take the process gradually and take it down that way. You could decide to take it up a little bit, it's your choice, just basically what works for you. So okay, so we have the eyes from here to here, and that's way much, like it's way better. And we could come back here now and then play around with the skin tones. Now basically the first thing that comes up with the skin tones is you need to select the shadows. You see it says sample shadows, so you select a sample of the shadows on the skin tone. So I think you could work with something like something around here. Okay, that works for the shadows. And you need to be very careful with this selection so you don't, yeah, this works for the mid-tones and highlights. You could pick something like that, yeah. So now basically what you just need to do is brush over the skin, and it kind of like evens out the skin tones generally. Oops, took that off. Now this is a rough sketch. Normally I take more time on this. Okay, so basically that's it. We have a working retouched image. Now, one thing I need to draw your attention to as well is that the fact that while I was starting the first frequency separation um, group, I had to drop the contrast just to flatten out the image. Actually, I prefer working on a flat image and then working my way back. So at this point the image is pretty much good to go, so and could bring back that contrast a little bit, and then come over to the clarity, just step it up a little, and then you can decide to take the highlights up, your choice, whatever works for you, or you take the whites instead. Yeah, I think that works pretty dope. And take the blacks down just a little bit for it so it pops out, and then sharpen with a radius of about 1.8 thereabout, just big grains. And vignette, you actually dial in that vignette and it has this classic portrait feel. So and there you have it. We actually came from here. This is the before, and then this is the after. Before, after. This is pretty much way much better than where we came from. So there it is, your retouch done.